Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar, PDF Basics for Lawyers, presented by Ernie Svenson. My name is Stephanie Phelan, and I'm a marketing manager at MyCase, and I will be your host today. This is a webinar that earns one self-study general credit in law practice management in New York, New Jersey, Illinois, Arizona, and Louisiana. Verification codes will appear during the presentation, so please note those codes if you are in one of those states and you're applying for CLE. There will also be a required survey at the end. I'd like to first give you a few tips about participating on GoToWebinar. The webinar control panel is on the right-hand side of your screen. Please use the questions pane to submit your questions at any time during the webinar. I'll be collecting those questions and saving them to ask Ernie at the end of his presentation, but please don't wait until the very end to shoot those over to me. You can also use this questions pane if you have inquiries about CLE. There's also a handout available for download on the GoToWebinar control panel. Also, please note that these slides and the recording will be available by end of day tomorrow on the MyCase blog, and it will also be emailed to all registrants. Lastly, the Twitter hashtag to follow the conversation is #PDFGenius. Today's webinar is hosted by MyCase, so before we jump into things, I'd like to give a quick overview. MyCase is a web-based law practice management software that takes care of your daily practice requirements for calendaring, contact management, document management and templates, time and billing, client communications, custom workflows, and more in one solution at an affordable price. MyCase is priced for solo and small firms at just $39 a month per attorney and $29 a month per paralegal or support staff. We also offer MyCase websites for our customers. The cost to set up and build your website is only $500, and then there's a $50 per month maintenance fee. We use a modern, professional design built for your firm. The websites contain social media and blog integration, and best of all, complete integration with MyCase practice management software. Now you and your customers can log into MyCase directly from your website. Last but not least, we enjoy hosting educational events for professionals in the legal industry, and that's why we're all here today. Now let me tell you a little about our presenter. Ernie Svenson is a New Orleans-based commercial litigator. He's also a nationally recognized speaker, author, and blogger. Around the same time Ernie launched his famous Ernie the Attorney blog, he became curious about using technology to transform his practice. The complex commercial litigation business cases Ernie worked on involved a lot of paper and typically required a great deal of secretary and paralegal time to organize those documents. Ernie became really interested in the idea of scanning paper to digital files, specifically PDFs. Learning how to work with PDFs instead of paper turned out to have a profound effect on his work life. After learning to become paperless, Ernie left his large law firm to start a low overhead, paperless solo practice. Now, through his Paperless Chase website, Ernie helps lawyers in small firms learn to use modern technology to create practices so smooth they practically run themselves. I'm pleased to welcome Ernie the Attorney as our presenter today. Ernie, I'll let you take it from here.
Great. Thank you so much, Stephanie, and thank you for having me. All right, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about PDF basics, which I say PDF basics for the modern law firm because I think that is the way that you achieve the efficiency, productivity, and less stress of the modern law firm. So a key is getting paperless, and part of being paperless is knowing how to deal with PDFs. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I think it's really important, though, that we kind of orient this discussion about paperlessness and the use of PDFs to achieve that with an overall analysis kind of or overview of the practice of law. And so we're not just talking about using PDFs because it's kind of cool or because being paperless helps you save trees. Those are all good things. But we're trying to figure out how to practice law efficiently, do a good job for our clients. And so we kind of need to put this discussion in a frame of reference. And what we're talking about is the question of, do you want to have a practice that's efficient? Do you want to have a practice where you can leverage the power of automation? Because it's important in today's world where we have access to all of this digital technology that we leverage it in the fullest way, in a way that helps us do a better job, helps us be less stressed out, helps our clients be more satisfied, and so forth. And so what we're talking about is using modern day technology, which is computers, to automate as many of the things that we can automate as possible. I used to work in a big firm. I had at my disposal when I first started in doing commercial litigation, I had a lot of paralegals that were expert in handling documents and so forth. And so essentially I was using them to do what later on I learned how to do by using a computer. And so the computer is automating the processes that those paralegals used to do. And increasingly, that is something that is available to us. Every day more technology is being developed. Every day we're learning better how to use that technology. And the legal profession is no different than any other profession. And it can take advantage of this automation power. And it can take advantage of this automation power if the stuff that's being automated is in digital format. If it's in paper format, it's very hard to automate. In fact, basically impossible. So we're talking about leveraging digital technology. And this is something that isn't the exclusive realm of a firm of 500 lawyers or 1,000 lawyers. It's actually something that in many ways is easier for smaller firms to do. So it really doesn't matter. I went from a big firm, and it was in some ways for me actually easier to leverage this power as a solo lawyer. So I guess the question for a lot of us here today is, what size firm are we in, and how does that affect our practice? So we're going to start off first with a poll question that asks you all to let us know, what is the size of your firm? Are you in a solo firm? Are you in a firm of 2 to 5 lawyers, a firm of 6 to 10 lawyers, or a firm with a size of more than 10 lawyers? If you would enter your vote there in the quick poll and let us know, that would be really great.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ernie. It looks like the responses are coming in, and the majority has voted, so I will go ahead and close the poll and share our results. Okay, so 57% are solo. 19% are in a firm with 2 to 5 attorneys, 9% are 6 to 10, and 16% are more than 10. So solos are definitely our majority there.
Yeah, and that's typically what I see, is that about 75% of lawyers are in firms of about 10 or less, and that's actually the sweet spot, in my opinion, for leveraging technology. So let's spend a moment here now talking about what a traditional firm is versus what a modern firm is. A traditional firm, which is the kind of firm that used to exist 10 or 15 years ago and still exists today, but was exclusively in existence 10 or 15 years ago. That kind of firm was one that basically was dependent on paper files. So all of its key information was in paper format, or mostly in paper format. I mean, there was word processing documents back in 10 or 15 years ago, but most of the information that lawyers dealt with was in paper. And often it was lost or misfiled. And the big problem, though, is that limits the ability to automate any of the common workflows. But there was no choice 10 or 15 years ago. 10 or 15 years ago in a traditional firm, people were location dependent. They didn't have to go, they had to go to offices to access the key files and do work. For example, one of the office machines people would use is a fax machine. So if you're in a firm that uses fax machines and is location dependent, that's a traditional firm. Another aspect of a traditional firm is that it is what I call collaboration handicapped, which means that people can't collaborate easily unless everyone is in the same room at the same time or in the same office at the same time. That limits your ability to hire virtual assistants or to even just collaborate with other people that work in your office if, let's say, somebody can't come in because it's a snow day or there's some disaster on the highway. You can't do work unless everybody is in the office. So that's what a traditional firm has. A modern firm, on the other hand, is digitized. In that firm, people are able to locate key information at a moment's notice. They're able to find the information they need reliably. They don't have to worry about, well, I can't find it, I don't know where it went. Worst case scenario, in a digital world, you might have misfiled it, but you can search for documents very easily and find them. But the big thing is the ability to leverage automation, whether that's simple automations, copy and paste kind of thing, or whether it's more intermediate or advanced, like creating forms and automating things that happen without human intervention. Another aspect of the modern firm is the use of cloud technology. And this means the ability to work with documents anywhere, anytime, and to share those documents easily, or to log into a cloud-based service and work from that cloud-based service. So like, for example, MyCase is a cloud-based service. That is a powerful thing, and that power of cloud technology is something that is increasingly being made available to lawyers, and that lawyers are starting to discover and make use of. And so not having to manage your own servers is a big deal, especially if you're in a small firm. So that's a modern firm. Also, in a modern firm, folks are virtualized, which means they're able to collaborate easily anywhere, and to also hire part-time assistants at a low cost, even if that means outsourcing. So digitizing, of course, means using PDFs, because you have to scan the documents to something, and you're going to scan them to PDFs. And then you're going to start automating things. So with PDFs, that means, the basic kind of automation would be things like you learn keyboard shortcuts. So instead of taking 3 or 4 steps to do something, you only take 1 or 2. Another example would be bait stamping documents in PDF format. It's very fast and doesn't take much time. I mean, it's very fast and doesn't take a lot of effort, and it's completely reliable. The computer won't miss a page, and I'll show you how that works in a second. And then also the ability to affix digital signatures to a document that somebody sends you and asks you to sign. So if you're checking into a hotel and somebody sends you a document, if you're adept at dealing with PDFs, you won't have to run downstairs and go to the business center and look for a printer to print the document out so that you can sign it and then scan it back in. You'll be able to sign it right from your hotel room and turn around and send it back. Intermediate automation is creating bookmarks, doing comments, doing redaction review, and then you get to advanced PDF processing, where you can search a batch of PDFs, or you can make them all text searchable, which is what OCR basically means. It stands for optical character recognition, but basically means to make a scanned piece of paper text searchable. So that lets you find information more quickly, and that's important. So those are the kind of skills that you need to develop and work on if you want to take advantage of PDF automation. One of the things that's a barrier, a stumbling block for attorneys who want to take advantage of this, is the idea that the inability to learn how to do this stuff effectively. There are services out there. Lynda.com is one that is I've used and I highly recommend. It's a subscription-based service, and for $25 a month, and they have like a 14-day trial period, so you can check it out for free. But if you want to try it for $25 a month, you have access to pretty much every kind of software out there, including PDF manipulation software like Acrobat, which we'll be talking about. And so that's one way you can get up to speed quickly. And there's some other ways, as well as YouTube and Google and so forth. But we'll talk about some of the other ways you can do this. The main one, I guess I would recommend to you guys, because it's focused on lawyers, is this guidebook that I created called PDF Essentials for Lawyers. It's in PDF format, and you can get it by going to the paperlesschase.com website and click on that button. You can read about it and get that book if you want to. But I will tell you that for today, I will give you that book at half off if you want to. If you go to smallfirmbootcamp.com and click on the MyCase webinar link up there, you can get it. And you'll learn why this is important in a little bit. So some basics about PDFs. What does PDF stand for? It stands for Portable Document Format. In case you're ever in a trivia contest and that's the question, now you can possibly win. The main thing, though, to know about PDFs is that they are in widespread use. And I would refer to PDFs more as digital paper, because what they basically are, and the solution that they provided, was that they represent what would be the piece of paper if you had it in your hand. So way back when, this was a problem, like, well, you send somebody a Word document, but it would reformat because their settings for their printer were different, and so the bottom of page 1 for you wasn't the bottom of page 1 for them, and you had all that kind of stuff. So if people printed that Word document to a PDF, that affixed it and made it as though it were paper. So production people used it, graphic design people used PDFs. PDFs were not created for lawyers, but because of this ability to represent what is in paper, they have utility for lawyers just like they do for everybody else. But the thing is, PDFs are really more than just paper. So this is where once you start to understand the ways in which PDF can make your life easier, and better so than paper, you're going to want to have more of this information in PDF format, because you can always print the PDF back out and have paper if you want to, but you can't make the paper do the things that PDFs will let you do. And there are all kinds of things. I mean, you could even embed a video into a PDF, which I did in one of the cases that I worked on involving the Who Dat trademark controversy in New Orleans back when the Saints were going to the Super Bowl, and I needed to capture a web clip that was on a website. So I was able to screen capture or video capture the web clip, but then I wanted to represent what it looked like on the web page. So I merely screen captured the web page, embedded the video in there, and I'm not going to demonstrate this here, but if I were showing it, I could just click on a button in there and that video would play. So that's a way of creating something that otherwise I wouldn't have been able to create very easily. And that's taking it to the extreme. But there are a lot of things you can do with PDFs. That's basically the point. All right, so PDFs are great no matter whether you use a Mac or a PC. That's one of the things about them that make them really great. But there are some differences with the software that's available, or at least the price of the software. So I guess at this point, it would be a good time to ask you all to fill out this poll question and let us know whether you use a Mac, a PC, or maybe some of you use both. And I use Macs exclusively pretty much, but I do need to do some things from time to time for which there is only a solution, excuse me, in the PC world. Excuse me. So whichever ones you use, it would be helpful to us to kind of get a gauge on how many of you are using Macs. So if you'd fill out that poll, that would be great.
Okay, great, Ernie. Thank you for that. So please do go ahead and answer that poll question, and I'll be closing that in just a moment. Okay, it looks like the majority are in. And our results. Okay, I don't know if you're going to find this surprising or not, Ernie, but 9% use Mac, 70% use a PC, and 21% use both. I also wanted to note something to the audience that for those who are participating in CLE, I'm actually going to be chatting those verification codes to the audience. Instead of being in the questions pane, it'll be chatted to you. So I'll let you take it from there, Ernie. Thanks.
Okay, great. The thing about PDFs is a lot of lawyers need to be convinced that PDFs are important, and they're not going to believe it unless they hear it from somebody that they really care about, like their clients. So there was an interesting development in the world recently when an in-house lawyer from Kia Motor Companies, who had previously worked in a large firm in California, went in-house, and he was worried now that he was an in-house counsel about the efficiency of the law firms that he hired to do work for him at Kia. And he could tell that one of the problems was that either the lawyers or their staff or the paralegals didn't know how to use technology effectively. So he started doing audits. You know, that it's kind of a harsh word, but that's the word people use. So it was a technology competence assessment, or there are other buzzwords you could use. But basically he was going into these firms and saying, show me that you know how to use this technology, because if you're doing things the old-fashioned way, I know it's taking more time, and if it's taking more time, I don't want to pay for that. His name was Casey Flaherty, and he found that when he would give this audit, which he thought should take about an hour, it would take folks about 5 hours. And they usually didn't do very good, and as a result, he would knock down their rates, or he wouldn't hire them if that was the issue. So what did the audit cover? It covered a lot of things, but on the PDF side, it covered skills like, did the lawyers know how to, quote, print to PDF, which means to, instead of taking a Word document and printing it out and then scanning it back in, you can print it to PDF and convert it on the fly instead of having to, you know, do that roundabout way, which of course is faster, right? Most lawyers, I think, know how to do this now because the federal courts all have e-filing, and that's basically what you have to do with e-filing, is you are converting your Word documents or your WordPerfect documents into a PDF. So that skill I think most people know, but surprisingly some don't. And he wanted to know whether they knew how to use the skills that were available in the Adobe Acrobat program, which we'll talk about in a second. That's the more higher level program. And he found that most lawyers lacked even the skills that you would expect them to have just by using the free reader program. So they didn't know how to extract pages. That's an Acrobat skill. They didn't know how to rearrange pages. That's an Acrobat skill. But they didn't know how to search PDFs or batches of PDFs, which is an Adobe Reader skill. So he tried to goad the lawyers by having this audit. They should probably be goaded by the duty that they have to their clients of maintaining competence, which includes tech competence. And so I think the basic skills that you should have in order to function efficiently, and you should do this because it's going to make your life easier and save you time and money and office space. The skills you need are things that are going to come up all the time, right? So if you get a PDF, just like with a piece of paper, you want to be able to zoom in quickly to see text that is hard to read. You want to be able to quickly jump to a different page. So if in the PDF it says, on page 56 it says this, you want to be able to go to page 56 really fast and then get back really fast. You want to be able to rearrange pages because maybe they were misordered when they were presented to you or when you scan them in. Insert pages, rotate pages, delete pages, fill out forms, and save those things. Those are basic skills. That comes up all the time in the modern law firm, and if you don't think it does, it's probably because you're not paying enough attention to it, because it does come up. And I found that I didn't know this until I started doing it, and when I started doing it, I realized there were a lot of things that I was unaware I could do with a PDF that I, once I knew how to do it. So those are the basic skills, but there are other key skills which I would say are close to basic skills. They're ones that once you master the basic skills, you'll want to take advantage of, like the ability to create bookmarks, and I'll show you what those are and why those are important, and creating sticky notes, search PDFs, make them text searchable, which is OCR. You want to be able to bait stamp, redact, and then create forms that people can fill out. Those are really important skills as well. So there are two types of programs that you can use that let you manipulate PDFs. Most people are familiar with Adobe Reader, which is free, because if you're going to view PDFs, you probably have downloaded Adobe Reader. Now, which version of it you have, I can't tell you, but you should probably update to the latest version because it does a lot of amazing things that I will demonstrate to you in a few minutes. But beyond the free Adobe Reader, which everyone should have, there is Adobe Acrobat. Adobe Acrobat is advanced manipulation software. The standard version costs about $289. The professional version costs $413. If you are a Mac user, you cannot get the standard version. You have to get the professional version. If you're a Windows user, you can get the standard version. And basically the difference between them is not that great. The main difference is that professional will let you bait stamp and redact. So what I tell lawyers when they ask me what they should get is I say basically everybody should have standard, or at least some equivalent of standard if you don't use Adobe Acrobat. There are other software programs you can get. But at least you should have standard on everybody's desk that is dealing with PDFs. Then at least one copy of professional in the office, because occasionally you're going to want to bait stamp PDFs or redact them. So that's basically what you all, I think, should have. Now, at this point, it'd be a good time to ask how many of you guys own Adobe Acrobat, because, and the important thing is here, make sure you know you own Adobe Acrobat, the thing you paid for. A lot of people think the free thing they have is Adobe Acrobat. The name Adobe is the company. Acrobat refers to the program, and there is Adobe Reader or Adobe Acrobat. So do you have Adobe Acrobat, yes or no?
Okay, thanks for clarifying that, Ernie. And the results are coming in. If everyone can please finish up and place your vote, I'll go ahead and close that poll. Okay, and our results. 65% do own Adobe Acrobat, and 35% said no, they do not. Okay,
great. All right, well, regardless of whether you use the free reader, and so 35% of you can get by and learn a lot of things by using the free reader program, or a lot of you that have Adobe Acrobat probably don't know how to do even some of the things that you can do with the latest version of Adobe Reader. So we're going to talk now about the power of PDF skills and show you what that looks like in action. And we're going to do some things like digitally sign a PDF, replace text. That's something you need Adobe Acrobat to do. I'm going to show you how to search text, how to highlight text. This is something you can do with the free reader program. We might get around to showing how you can export out to Word, so you can take a PDF that somebody sent to you and save it out as a Word document. We're definitely going to talk about how to bookmark. That's something you have to have Adobe Acrobat for. Combining PDFs is something you need Acrobat for. Form creation. Redacting text, as we talked about, you need Professional for. Bait stamping, same thing. All right, so let's jump into demonstrating these skills that I'm telling you are super important. So at this point, what I'm going to do is drop out of my presenter mode, which is what I've been doing. So I think a lot of you think that I have been using PowerPoint. I have not. I have been using Adobe Acrobat to demonstrate all of this stuff. So it looks like I've been doing slides, but I've really just been bopping along in Adobe Acrobat with a PDF. So we're inside of a PDF, and I basically want to kind of orient you as to where things are. So at the top of the screen, inside of, and this is true for Adobe Reader or for Adobe Acrobat, you're going to have something up here. You're going to have your toolbars. There's some things you can do up here. But basically, you've got your menus, your File, Edit, View, Window, and so forth. And then over here, you have some other menus which don't drop down, but rather open up a whole different panel. And those are the Tools, Fill and Sign, and Comment submenus. And if you click on them twice, they'll go away. Over here on the left, you have the page thumbnails where you can see each page. And so each of these slides is a separate page, and I can reorder them by dragging them around in here, or jump to a different page by clicking on it, which I'm not going to do. Or you can look at the bookmarks. We don't have any bookmarks in this PDF. You can look for attachments, which we have a bunch of, and you're going to see that happening in a second. But so those are the panels. You have panels on the right, panels on the left, and the toolbars up top, and then in the middle is the viewing screen. And there's a lot of things you can do. We could talk about setting up the views and so forth, but I'm going to get to that at the end, because what I want to show you is something, I want to get to the good stuff right away. So let's go to a signature page, and let's say that we need to sign a PDF. And so we're going to open up a new PDF. So I opened this up. I'm in a new PDF because I had it embedded in this one. So that attachments panel over there that we saw over here is one that lets me embed other PDFs. So I can, basically use one PDF to carry along a bunch of other PDFs, or you can actually put other kind of file types in there. They don't have to be PDFs. They could be Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, whatever. All right, so we've got this document. We need to sign it. How are we going to do this? All right, well, what we're going to do is, if we had this all set up in advance, we would go whether we have it set up in advance or not, we go to Fill and Sign, and we can place a signature by clicking here. And I'm going to clear the saved signature that's in there to show you what would happen if you come up here and you're using either, and this is true for Adobe Reader or Adobe Acrobat. So if I want to place a signature and I click on this, it's going to say, I don't have anything in there to sign with, so what do we want to do here? You want to type your signature? And I'm going to say, yeah, sure, fine. I'm going to type Ernie Svenson, and it's going to say, here's a signature style. It's not the way I would sign it. If I don't like that one, I can pick a different one. You have 4 different choices, so maybe I'll pick that one. And then if I say I'm going to accept that, it'll now give me something that looks like my signature, or looks like a signature that was done with a pen. And if I click in here, it will put that signature there. If I need to make it bigger, I can drag one of the corners around. I can get this and move it and place it however I want. And you'll notice that it's the background of this signature is transparent. So if I put it on top of the signature line, it looks like I signed on top of that, which is really great. So there I can sign it like that. Now, if you don't mind that, and most people don't, you can get away with this, and that's great. You can do it in Adobe Reader, Adobe Acrobat. This is a way you can sign it. Then you date it, save it out, and I'll show you that in a second. And then you send it to somebody, and they think that you took the time to print it out and sign it. I'm going to get rid of this signature, and I'm going to instead, I'm going to change this. I'm going to clear the saved signature. I'm going to hit Place Signature Time. I'm going to say I want to use an image, and what I have is an image of my signature that I've saved. let's see, where did I save this thing? Well, let's go to Dropbox, to digital signatures, to this signature here is one that this is what I use. So now I'm going to import this signature into here. Let's see. Did that work? No. Okay. All right, let's try it again. So the trick with this is the first part is when you first import this this digital file, it's a little tricky, but you don't have to do this every time. You just have to do it once. So let's pick a different one just so that I see if I can. So I'm going to pick signature here. I'm going to pick a John Hancock signature. Let's see if this one will work. Okay, this is weird. All right, well, let's just skip that part. So let's, I'm not sure why it's doing that. Sometimes you have to have it be a JPEG or a PNG file. I don't know, maybe Adobe updated it. I can figure this out later. But you saw how I positioned the signature. So let's say, you know, I'm just going to go back to doing it the way I did it before. I'll type my signature, Ernie Svenson, place it there. The next problem I have, though, is that my name in this document, I don't want it to say name. I want it to say my name. That's what it's supposed to say. So this is where I would go up to Tools, Content Editing. I'm going to edit text. And so what I'm going to do is, and this is with Adobe Acrobat. You can't do this with Adobe Reader. I'm going to drag across where it says name, and I type Ernest Svenson. And then I'm going to go up here and click on the hand tool. And so I've now replaced that line with my name. Now I need to add the date for this document. I'm going to use the Add Text tool over here, which lets me position right on the line. And I'm going to say September 29th, 2015. I'm going to go up to the hand tool, click there. Now I have signed this document. I have put the date on it, and it's ready to go. And if I had got the signature stamp in, which today it's not cooperating, it would look blue. It would look exactly like my signature, because what I did was take my signature, scan it in, extract the part that is relevant. So when I sign PDFs using that methodology and send it to people, they have no idea that I didn't actually print it out and sign it with paper. So that's really powerful, this ability to digitally sign things, right? So you've seen you can sign, you can change the name, you can edit text in the PDF. Now, you cannot edit the text this easily if what happened was the PDF was scanned in and then OCR'd or made text searchable. This can be done with a PDF that was created from a Word document, for example. So that the document had to have been a text-based document in order to be able to alter the text. But it's pretty amazing, right? So that you can like just go up here. I could like completely change this entire paragraph of this PDF. So the idea that PDFs affix permanently that which is in them is not true. You know, you can set the security so people can't do things like this, but just natively, they're able to be edited. And you know, once you understand why, that's actually a good thing, and it's usually not a problem. So let's talk next about how you combine a bunch of PDFs together into one PDF. And let's do this using a good example, which would be that you're in federal court and you have a bunch of documents that are sent to you, and you need to take all these documents and make them into one PDF instead of a bunch of PDFs. And what happens is, you know, you'll get a notice from Pacer saying, here's these documents that somebody uploaded, or if you're in a state that has e-filing, it probably works the same way. And what happens is all these documents that get filed are separate documents, because that's how they make you file them to begin with. They want you to file the proposed order, the notice of submission, the memo and support, and so forth. So they give you all these different documents which you download, and then they wind up looking like this. And so what you need to do is combine those documents into one PDF. So we're going to go back to Acrobat, and we're going to choose File, Create, combine files into a single PDF. I'm going to select that. It's going to say we have to add these files, so we have to navigate over to the place where those documents were, and we grab them, and then we hit Add Files. And when we do, it adds all these files in. Now the thing is, it's put the main document, which is the motion, which is the main document, at the bottom. If I let them combine this way, that's going to be the last document in there. I don't want that. I want it to be the first document. So I'm going to click this green arrow several times until it winds up at the top. So now I have the main document on top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I hit combine. It takes a few seconds. It pops through really quickly. And now all of a sudden I have one PDF that has 10 pages, and this PDF comprises those other documents. So if I go over here to the bookmarks area, you will now see that I have bookmarks for all those documents, because when you combine PDFs, Adobe Acrobat automatically takes the name of the file and makes that the bookmark. So this is the motion to strike. I don't like that, so I'm going to right click and choose rename and say motion to strike. Hit enter. Then I'm going to go over here to this one. This one is an order to strike. Right click, rename, order to strike. Next one is this thing. It's an order for expedited consideration, a rename, and so forth. So you get the idea. Basically, I'm going to go through and rename them all, and then I'll have bookmarks that will take me to any one of these documents really quickly. And you'll notice they show up big like this, you know, and I quickly make them like that. That's a keyboard shortcut. Remember I talked about basic automation? So that's what's going on there, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. But basically, this is incredibly useful, right? You want to take all those disparate PDFs and make them into one, because you don't want to be managing a bunch of separate PDFs if you get a filing like this. So that's how you combine them. Now, let's talk about security just for a second. Because sometimes when you try to combine a PDF, you know, a bunch of files like that, and usually this is, I found when I'm working with a transcript that a court reporter has had, what will happen is there'll be some kind of security applied to it and it won't work. But you don't know it. You just know that it's not allowing you to combine, or it's not allowing you to split, or it's not allowing you to do something with the PDF. And the best way to demonstrate this is to show you a document, a PDF, that has security applied to it. So if you want to know if security is applied to a document, you go up to File, Properties, or if you want to start to learn automation, you look and see it says Command D. That's if you're using a Mac, which I am. On a PC it would be Control D. And you select that the first time by using the menu. The next time you learn the keyboard shortcut. And you go up to this, dialog box, and you look at security. You click on security, and you're going to see it doesn't have any password security. I was able to open it up without entering a password. But even though I was able to open it up without the password, there are some things I can't do. I am allowed to print, but I can't change the document. I'm not allowed to merge this one into another PDF. I'm not allowed to take pages out of this PDF. So the person who created this PDF restricted it in that way. So if you ever have a PDF that's acting weird, just go up to Document Properties and see what's going on. Now sometimes, you know, it's because you have Adobe Reader and you don't have the functionality, but assuming you have Adobe Acrobat, if you can't do some basic things, it's because security has been applied. Alright, so something else that happens a lot, this is more common than anything else, is somebody sends you a PDF and you're going through it and you're going, oh, okay, here's this PDF, I'm going through page to page, and I come to the next page. Wait, what happened? Why is this page suddenly flipped over? I go to the next page, that one's fine, but this one is flipped to the right. So what do? Well, if you're using Adobe Reader, you would hold down the Command and Shift key, or you can go up to, let's do it the hard way. You go up to View, Rotate View, and hit counterclockwise, because that's the problem with this page. Now, when I do that, the other pages have been flipped, because what it did was it flipped the whole PDF. So yeah, it's great. I can read this one now, but if I go to the next page, I'm going to have to go back and do this again. Rotate View, back to clockwise. I don't want to do that. So what you want to do is let's see here. I don't even know how to do this by looking at I know how to do it this way. Command Shift or Control Shift if you're on a PC, and then the letter R pops up this dialog box, which will now let you selectively decide which pages you want to rotate, and it will let you save that PDF with those changes made. So you need Adobe Acrobat and the ability to be able to say, I want to just flip this page back over, and I want to make it go counterclockwise to fix the problem. And then if you do that, it'll be okay. And all the other pages will be fine too. So you can flip it temporarily with Adobe Reader using Command Shift plus or minus. And you can do that with Acrobat as well, but that's going to flip everything. Or you can do it with Command Shift R if you have Adobe Acrobat. All right, so we're not going to save those changes. What are we going to talk about next? All right, so I showed you the zoom, but let me talk to you a little bit about that quickly. And I'm going to show you this with the keyboard shortcuts tools. So this is something that I'm happy to give you guys for free. When you go to paperlesschase.com, you can get this kind of stuff for free. This is my idea of the key skills that you need to learn, and then the keyboard shortcut for it, because if you're going to learn the key skills that come up often, it's most efficient if you learn the shortcuts. So this document is displayed in Fit Page View, which means that you can see the top and the bottom of the page in this document. It's a one-page document, so that's it. This is the one page. But if you want to zoom in quickly, you go to the Fit Width View, which is this view here. So this makes it really big, really easy to see, but now you're going to have to scroll through it like as if you're going through a web page. And that's fine, but the ability to be able to flip back and forth is important. So you want to learn the keyboard shortcut for that, which is Command 0, Command 2 is width, 0 is fit page. So that's zooming that way. Another kind of zooming, though, is when you need to zoom in on a particular area. So let's say I just want to zoom in and just see this area here where I drag around this box. It's going to zoom up to this huge view that's going to encompass what I selected and dragged, right? I used the keyboard shortcut to get back. The keyboard shortcut to get back to the prior view is either Control or Command and the back arrow. I could go forward, backward. It's just like a web browser, so it's very intuitive and easy to understand. Now, this one doesn't have a number of pages, so I'm going to open up another document that has a bunch of pages. I'm going to open up this one here, and let's say this document, which has 6 pages. I know this because up here in the top left, it says 1 out of 6. So if I wanted to go to page 3, I could go up there, enter in 3, hit enter, and now I'm on page 3. I want to go to page 6, go up here, hit enter, type in 6, go here. Okay, so that's a slow way to do it. The faster way to do it is to learn the keyboard shortcut, which is Command Control N. I want to go to page 1, boom. I want to go to page 6, boom. So you want to be able to navigate around PDFs really quickly. And remember, the command back arrow brings you back to wherever you were before. So you can go forwards, backwards, jump forward, jump backward. Really easy, but very important. All right. Now let's talk about the most important thing, I think, for lawyers who deal with PDFs, and that is the ability to find information in a PDF or in a batch of PDFs really efficiently. So first off, to find the information which you're going to be searching for, you're going to need for that document to be text searchable. So this document is text searchable, and I will know that it's text searchable because let's say I go grab the selection tool and I select an area. I'm able to select. If it was not text searchable, it would throw up a flag and say, well, you're trying to select text, you can't do that. And if you're using Adobe Acrobat, it would say, by the way, I can make this text searchable, would you like me to do that? If you want to force that to happen, you go over to Tools and to the Text Recognition panel, and then you choose either this one PDF, or you can OCR or make text searchable a bunch of different PDFs. And so we would, you would pick that one. You would say which pages, all of them probably. Click OK, and it would go through. If I try to do this to this one, which is already text searchable, it'll just tell me that I've already done it. All right, so this document is text searchable. I want to find, and it's got mumbo jumbo kind of text in it, which is called lorem ipsum text. But somewhere in here, in these 6 pages, is the phrase Drew Brees. I'm from New Orleans. I like Drew Brees. I hope he gets well again soon. But in this document somewhere, there's the word Drew Brees, right? So this is replicating the, gee, somewhere in that PDF is some text that says the name of the person who I want to find, or whatever it is you're searching for. So what I would do is I can go up to Edit, hit Find. This is the slow way. I'm going to memorize the keyboard shortcut, Control F. And when I do Control F or select from the menu, it pops up a little box up here. So in here, I'm going to type Drew, and I can type the whole thing, but I'm just going to type Drew, hit Next, and right away, it's selected the Drew Brees text. If I want to highlight this text because I want to be able to remember where it was, I can go up here, and this is true for Adobe Reader as well as Adobe Acrobat. Adobe Reader if you have the latest version, which is version 11. If I click Highlight Text, now this text has been highlighted. Are there any other instances of Drew Brees in here? Let's see. Next. Nope, no more. Adobe says it's searched, and it didn't find any documents. So I can go back to the page where it was and look at that. Now, this highlighting is something pretty important. It's something that you used to not be able to do in Adobe Reader because you see a passage you like, you can choose, you can do it this way by selecting it and then clicking the highlighter, or you can just go up and click the highlighter, and now that tool is activated, and you can just start highlighting passages wherever they are that you think is important, right? Any page, anywhere that you see something that's important, you're going to go through and highlight it. Now, when I'm doing this, I'm actually creating hyperlinks or the ability to go back and find this text later. So let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to click the Comments subpanel, and when I do that, there is an area over here on the right that says Comment List. I'm going to collapse these so we don't focus on that. And you see the first one says Drew Brees. So if I click up here, it's going to take me to the selection that says Drew Brees. If I click on this one, it's the other selection I made. And then down here where it says Part 8, maybe you can't see it, but that's what it says. If I click on that, I've highlighted this text that says Part 8. The reason that it captured the text here where it says Part 7, Part 8, Drew Brees, the reason it's capturing the text is because of a setting in the preferences, which are under the Mac, under the Acrobat menu, under Windows it would be under the File menu. So in the preferences, there is a setting under commenting, and this is only for Adobe Acrobat. Adobe Reader doesn't have this setting. It will highlight, but it will not do this. In Acrobat, you can select Copy Selected Text into Highlight. That is not an option that is set by default. I think that's the first thing that you should do when you get Adobe Acrobat, because who wouldn't want to copy the text in and have this kind of functionality? I mean, the worst case scenario, I go here and I open up this this text. Let's see, open pop-up note. There's the text that's copied, right? I could delete that text if I want to. So I can do it from here, or I can go over here and choose, I can choose to delete it from here. Delete, and delete from here, and then go back, and then I can choose to highlight it, and then I can hit the pop-up note, hit testing, change it to whatever I want. Now it's changed it to that. So it's easier to delete text, especially if it's a lot of text, and then to type all that text. So I think the better option is to have that enabled to begin with. So what you're doing is you're creating highlights. That's really great. But what if you don't want to highlight text? What if you get to a place in the document where, let's say up in here, you think this is a really important passage that you want to make a note on? Now, first of all, we just showed you this. You can double-click on this, open it up, and you have the text in there, and you could change it and say, I think this is important for X reasons, and that would be what gets saved into that text. But sometimes people want a visual indicator that you've put a note. So if you put a little sticky note there, that's another way to indicate that you think something is important, right? And the sticky notes there, you hover over it, it'll show what you said. This one, when you hover over it, it's not going to show you what you said, so that's kind of that's a difference right there. Well, actually, it does now. It's doing it. Depends on where you hover. But this is a visual indicator that this has notes. Now, over here, you're going to see this comment shows a little speech bubble indicating it's a different kind of comment than the highlighting. So all these different kinds of comments are flagged with visual indicators, and as we talked about, you can go to any page by clicking on these comments. And so far, what I've showed you is all stuff that you can do with Adobe Reader, the free program. So if you're not doing this with Adobe Acrobat, then you're already starting to miss out on some of the functionality in Acrobat that's even present in Adobe Reader. So this is very powerful stuff, very good. You should learn the shortcuts for this as well. Now, one of the most powerful things, if not the most powerful thing that you can do with a PDF is bookmarks. So let me show you what bookmarks look like. And basically, I mean, this document does not have, well, this one has bookmarks. But the other one I was in, this one, if I click up here, it does not have bookmarks. But we're back to this one. This is a memo and support. In this memo and support, there's structure to this document. If you use styles in Microsoft Word and you print to PDF the best way, then all of those styles will generate bookmarks that look like this. And you won't have to do anything. Again, automation, good. You should learn how to do that. But what happens if, for example, you get this memo from opposing counsel and they haven't generated this lovely looking set of bookmarks that lets you navigate quickly and easily through this document and find the headings and the discussions and so forth. So what would you do? Well, first of all, I'll show you what you do by deleting all these bookmarks. Let's see, I'll do delete. All the bookmarks are gone. So let's assume you got this document like this. Opposing counsel sent you this document. Now you need to create the bookmarks. They didn't make it easy for you. So what you would do is you go up to the selection tool so you can select, and you would select memo and support, maybe just that text there. And then if you go and hit create bookmark, it's going to capture the text from that bookmark. A lot of people don't know this trick, and they just say, oh, I'm going to create a bookmark, and they go up to bookmark, and if you don't have the text selected, so let me deselect the text. If you don't have text selected and you hit, click new bookmark, it's just going to create one called Untitled, which is kind of useless. So, again, to automate and to make things speedy and efficient, you want to go through here and say, okay, I'm going to select, I'm going to say background. Now, if I have to go up here and click bookmark every time, that's going to take me longer. So I'm going to learn the shortcut for creating a bookmark. The shortcut for creating a bookmark, well, I happen to know it's Control B or Command B, depending on if you're using a PC or a Mac. So I'm going to hit Command B on a Mac, background. Next one is this sub thing. Oops, I selected too much. This right here, Command B. Going forward over to the next page, number 2, Command B. So I can just go through this document really quickly, just highlighting, hitting Command B or Control B if I'm on a PC, and I am creating structure. Wait, I'm creating structure for this document by doing this. So, and this is a good thing because you want to have sort of the table of contents of this document. This is totally worth doing for any pleading that you get that has structure because it doesn't take that long. And obviously, if you have an assistant, you're going to get them to do it. Now, all of these are on the same level. The background, I want to make it a sub-level. This, I want to make a sub-level of that. So I can drag these bookmarks over so that they nest properly, and so that I get a document that has not only the structure that I want, but also visually shows the structure in a way that makes it easy for me to bop in and bop out. So that's how you create bookmarks. As you can see, they let you jump around just like we did with the with highlighting, but this is more for sort of like creating a table of contents. So that is how you create bookmarks, and that is what bookmarks do. And I think they are probably the most powerful thing that you can learn to do with a PDF if you have Adobe Acrobat. All right, let's talk about creating a header for a document. And let's say, so like up here you see this document, which is a document that the court has sent us. It has a header, right? So this header up here is something that's on every page of this document. Now, first off, I'm going to show you real quickly how I redact that header. I'm going to go to Tools, Redaction, which is Protection. I'm going to mark for redaction this area here. I don't like that it says redacted because all I'm trying to do is white it out. So I'm going to hit Properties. I'm going to say I want the redaction color to be white. Oops, I want it to be white. And so now when I hover over it, it's still white. Looks good, like that. So then I also want to repeat this mark across all pages, because if I go to, let me cancel out. If I go to page 2, that same redaction is there. I want that to be taken care of without me having to go to every page. So I'm going to say repeat this mark across pages. Yes, all pages. So now when I go to page 2, same thing, it's redacted. So I'm going to apply the redaction now. It's going to say you're about to permanently remove this. Are you sure you want to do it? I'm going to say yep, okay. And then I'm going to save this as, yes, I want to continue. I'm going to save it as out to, to desktop. I'm going to hit save. At this point, I've now obliterated that text. That text is completely gone. But if I were creating it from scratch and I wanted to create a header like that, I would say add header footer. I would say, I don't know what size it was, but I would say I'm going to put some stuff here. And for this, I'm going to type CTHED. And then, so I quickly generated this using a text expansion tool, which I'm not going to talk about, but more automation, folks. So that's, I'm going to say page 1 of 1, but what I want to do is insert the page number. So I'm going to, it has multiple pages. So I'm going to say, here, I want you to insert the page number. I'll say page 1 of, and I know it has 2 pages, so I'm going to put 2. I'm going to say OK. It's now run through this document and said, page 1 of 2, page 2 of 2. So this is how you apply a header, but that's the same way that you would Bates stamp. So you would basically just go to Bates numbering, choose add Bates number, and do the same thing basically, make those kind of choices. So that's adding Bates numbers. We talked about document security already. I talked to you about preference settings. A couple of things that I want to touch on just before we finish up are the, so let me cancel out of this one, are the keyboard shortcuts I talked to you about. So this is something I think is really important. So this is kind of like a summary of what we've covered. Document review. This is how you would see whether anybody had applied security. You can also tell the file size. If you have Adobe Acrobat, you can set the PDF so that it will automatically show the bookmarks panel, which is a good thing. We learned how to zoom in on PDFs and zoom out quickly. We learned how to jump from page to page, how to go back to a prior view, how to rotate pages, either all of the pages in the PDF or selectively if we have Adobe Acrobat. We learned how to bookmark efficiently, and we learned how to comment with the little highlighting, but also we're putting little sticky notes, which there is a shortcut for called Control and Command 6. So if I hit that and pop that up, I could put a little sticky note there. I can move where the sticky note pops up to. I type in some text here, and if I want to, make it go away, I can hit this thing. But that's kind of a lot of extra work. If I just hit the escape key, so that's what this is telling you. If you just hit the escape key, boom, it's back. We talked about finding text. We didn't talk about how to do the advanced finding of text. So let's say you wanted to find text in a bunch of PDFs. Then you would use the advanced search function, and you would say all PDFs, you would tell it where, you tell it what kind of phrase you're searching for. You could search inside of bookmarks or comments. There's some other options that allow you to search for case-sensitive whole words, matching phrases, and so forth. And there's one other thing that I want to show you about in the redaction feature, which is pretty cool, which I need to show you, which is, let's say there's a social security number in here and you want to find social security numbers, Adobe Acrobat's redaction function will let you search for certain kinds of text. So if I hit search for and remove text, I can pick what kind of pattern I'm looking for. So the patterns are phone numbers, credit cards, social security numbers, email addresses. This document has a social security number, so I'm going to pick that, and I'm going to say search for and remove text. And just like it did the searching within other documents, it's going to search this one, and oh wait, sorry, stop. I want to search for this in, I want to search for this in, I don't want to search in all, see, it was searching everything. I didn't want to do that. I want to search it only in this document. So when I do that, right away it's going to find, here's the text, and I can say, click on it. It's going to take me to the page where that text is. And of course, now I know the trick. I could just hit highlight, or I could use the redaction tool and redact it from there. So there's a lot of power in using Adobe Acrobat. And I think once you see it, and I think you have now, you'll understand that if you can leverage this power and get really good at it, you can do some amazing things with PDFs that are going to make your life a lot easier. So what I would recommend you do is, you know, my book, like I said, is available. If you go to smallfirmbootcamp.com, you can get this book. It's a PDF download. You can download it immediately. It has the cheat sheets. It has videos in there. It has all kinds of stuff. If you have Adobe Reader, or if you're using Adobe Acrobat and not using it well, then I would recommend you grab this. Like I said, it's a special price for folks who want to get it. Today only for $7.95. Just go to this page here, smallfirmbootcamp.com, look for the MyCase webinar page. It should be good to go. And if you have any questions, email me. I live for helping lawyers learn how to use PDFs more effectively, because I know from firsthand experience that it can transform the way that you practice law and make your life a lot easier. So thank you all very much for listening to this webinar.
Thank you so much, Ernie. That was really a great presentation, and so many of those tips I did not know before, so thank you. For those of you who have to leave us now, please take note of 3 things. MyCase offers a 30, and because you attended this webinar today, you get a bonus discount, so please note that promo code, PENDIG15. Secondly, when you close your webinar today, a survey will pop up. The first 5 questions are required for those applying for CLE credit in New York, New Jersey, Arizona, Louisiana, and Illinois. You will be receiving your CLE certificate by email from Esquire CLE within a few days after the webinar. The last few survey questions, 11 through 15, are for everyone. And to incentivize you to fill out those last questions, we will randomly select one lucky survey responder to receive a $50 Amazon gift card. And also, you will receive an email tomorrow with a link to our blog where you'll find these slides, the webinar recording, and the Amazon gift card winner. And Ernie, we have a lot of questions that came in through that webinar, and we won't be able to get through those today, through all of those today, but I'll just ask a couple, and I'll read those to you right now.
Okay.
And one that came across a few times: what makes a digital signature legally binding?
Well, you know, that's a really interesting question, but I'll give you the short answer. First off, if parties agree that a digital signature is binding, it is. And the classic definition of a binding signature is non-repudiability, which is hard to say, meaning that the person can't say that's not my signature. So digital signatures have that effect. Even simply stamping them in has that effect, but if you do a true digital signature, which I did not demonstrate, which is more cumbersome and usually not warranted unless you know both parties are really trying to lock things down and they both know how to use Adobe Acrobat really well, or if you're using Adobe XI, you know, if you're doing that, then for sure, you know, you have created a password-protected, non-alterable PDF, and that's, you know, highly not repudiable. But I will tell you that in federal court, when judges sign their documents, and I was, you know, surprised when I first saw this, they just use a plain old signature stamp. So in my view, if federal judges are signing their documents this way and that's legally binding, I think that's probably pretty good for the rest of us.
Okay, great answer. Thank you. There are a lot of more complex questions, but just to kind of keep it shorter, can you print the comments to a PDF?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, I won't demonstrate it, but yes, you can.
Okay, great. And several people asked, what's the best way to turn a paper document into a PDF?
Scan it.
Okay, great. And then how about using the iPhone to scan it? Will that work just as well?
Yeah, you can do that. Actually, there's a lot of different applications that will let you do that. The latest application for Evernote is one that's really good because it's easy. You just aim your phone. It probably works with Android phones, but I know it works with an iPhone. And each time you move the paper away or page away, it'll take a snapshot automatically without you having to press a snap picture thing, and then it will assemble that all into one PDF and save it to Evernote or allow you to email it to someone. And so, yeah, there's a lot of applications out there that now will let you create PDFs very effectively just using your phone.
Okay, great. And Ernie, as I mentioned before, there's a lot more questions, but I know that you have your business, Paperless Chase, so that people can refer to that for more detailed questions. And I'm going to wrap it up right there. For those applying for CLE, those 2 codes were chatted to you, so you'll have a survey pop up at the end. You can enter those there, and of course fill out the survey for the Amazon gift card as well for those interested. And thank you, Ernie, so much, and thank you to all who attended today.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Ernie. Bye-bye.